The balance of global wealth is shifting, but not in the way most Westerners imagine. Beyond the familiar faces of American entrepreneurs lies a deeper layer of power on the other side of the world. Families who have spent decades building labyrinthine business empires outside of the European and stateside context. From the booming tech of East Asia to mineral-rich African nations, all the way down to Latin America, these hidden billionaires operate vast commercial networks that increasingly dictate the flow of global capital, all while maintaining a carefully cultivated place under the radar. Today, we explore these ghosts of global capitalism, families whose collective wealth rivals that of America's most famous billionaires, yet whose names remain unknown to most of the world. Imagine your life at the very pinnacle of power and prestige in the lovingly innovative and forward-thinking culture of South Korea. Of course, we're not talking about strutting your dance moves as a member of legendary boy band BTS, or being an award-winning star in media properties like Squid Game or Best Picture winner Parasite, although those would be nice. We're talking about a life as South Korean old money where you wake up and check your Samsung phone before heading downstairs to do your laundry in your Samsung washing machine. You turn on your Samsung TV to watch the news hosted in a skyscraper built by Samsung. You live and breathe in a world dominated by this brand. And, with the way this company's grown over the last half-century, even when you die, you'll be buried in a Samsung coffin. Better yet, we want you to imagine that you're the heir of this iconic global behemoth. The last place you'd want to, and expect to, end up is in a jail cell. And yet, that's exactly what happened along the way to the Lee family of South Korea's $370 billion empire. In today's episode, we'll share with you the full saga of the founding family of Samsung, from rags to riches to jail to more riches, as we describe. The Lee family, the $370 billion family that owns South Korea. Lee Jae-yong, the suave executive chairman of Samsung, or chaebol for those in the know, isn't just a business tycoon. He's a walking, talking emblem of Asian affluence. With a net worth bobbing around the $9 to $11 billion mark, Lee's not just rich. He's look up and see my bank balance in the stars rich. And his golden goose is, of course, a cozy 2% stake in Samsung as of January 2024. Not too shabby for a day's work. Now, looking to the luxurious life of this billionaire, Lee's not one to overtly flaunt his assets, but let's just say his entry into any room is nothing short of a red carpet affair. Private jets, limos with windows so tinted you'd think they lead to another universe, and suits so sharp they could probably cut glass. That's just a Tuesday for him. And when he's not making business moves, you'll find him perfecting his golf swing or trotting around equestrian stables. Because why not? Naturally, we can't forget his real estate game, which is as strong as the camera quality on the latest phones he makes billions from every day. In 2014, he casually dropped a cool $45 million on a Madison Avenue pad in New York. Add to that properties in London and Seoul, and you've got yourself a global monopoly board. But wait, there's his sister, Lee Boo-jin, sitting pretty with a net worth of $3.7 billion as well. Indeed, she's not just one of the country's richest women, she's a diamond-encrusted powerhouse in her own right. Her rise to riches was punctuated by a journey through the Samsung empire, climbing the ladder all the way to the top at Hotel Schiller, and her lifestyle is equal to Lee Jae-yong's luxury level. But then, add a sprinkle of extra extravagance. She's seldom seen without a Bulgari watch that's worth more than most people's homes, and her art collection is diversified as the electronics division in her family's very own multi-billion-dollar empire. Therefore, from the outside, the Samsung family is the very definition of luxury, wealth and influence, and it's like they've got a VIP pass to life itself. But how did this empire sprout from the ground? To understand the roots of this opulent family tree, we need to time travel back to the dawn of the Common Era, where a legendary story of astronomical wealth begins. In the intricate landscape of South Korean history, the Lee family name, or Yi in its original form, emerges as a significant pillar. Tracing its origins to the Gyeongju clan, which was established at the dawn of the Common Era, the clan system in South Korea presents a fascinating study. Unlike the Scottish clans, known for their tartan-clad warriors and rugged highland territories, or the intricate tribal systems of Japan, marked by their strict social hierarchies and samurai codes, the Korean clan system is distinguished by its unique combination of ancestral reverence, regional ties, and social stratification. And the Gyeongju clan, from which Samsung's Lee family descends, boasts a staggering membership of over 1.4 million individuals. And King Yuri, around the year 9 CE, marked a pivotal moment in this clan's history by conferring the name Yi upon his subjects, a name that, through centuries, has evolved into Lee in modern translation. Thus, the Lee surname, riding the waves of time, has become one of the most prevalent in South Korea, only surpassed by one other in terms of popularity. Therefore, outside of the Samsung founders in Korean history, we can find many notable figures hailing from the Gyeongju clan. These luminaries have painted various sectors with their brilliance, from arts to politics, adding layers of richness to the family's legacy. However, the story of Lee Byung-chul, the founding father of Samsung, adds a particularly golden hue to this already impressive lineage. Born not into the struggles of poverty, but into the comforts of substantial wealth, his story begins in the South Gyeongsang province of the then Korean Empire. Indeed, we can picture the South Gyeongsang province at the turn of the century, a period marked by the ebb and flow of traditional Korean culture and the impending tides of modernization. Certainly, it was an era when Korea stood at the crossroads of its own deep-rooted heritage and the looming shadows of external influences. In this historical juncture, in February 1910, Byung-chul entered the world as the youngest of 4 siblings, destined to leave an indelible mark on the business world. From a tender age, education was the beacon that guided Byung-chul's early journey. His academic voyage began at Jungdong High School in Seoul and later led him to the shores of Tokyo, where he enrolled at Waseda University. However, the halls of academia could not contain his burgeoning entrepreneurial spirit for long. Byung-chul soon realized that his true calling lay not in the pursuit of scholarly accolades, but in the vibrant arena of business. With a decision that would set the stage for a remarkable career, Byung-chul turned his back on Waseda University, choosing instead to carve his own path in the world of commerce. Thus, with the boldness of a pioneer and the legacy of centuries coursing through his veins, the entrepreneurial chapter of Lee Byung-chul's life commenced. In 1938, a pivotal year in South Korea's commercial saga, Lee Byung-chul embarked on a venture that would redefine the business landscape of the nation. Founding the Samsung Trading Company in Busan on the 1st of March, he ventured into a domain that was both challenging and promising. Now, the 30s and 40s in South Korea were periods rife with economic transformations. The country, still grappling with the vestiges of Japanese occupation and the stirrings of modern industry, presented a fertile ground for businesses that could bridge the gap between traditional commerce and the emerging demands of a modernizing society. In this context, a grocery transportation company seemed a strategic choice for Byung-chul, catering to the essential needs of a population on the cusp of change. Now, with an initial investment of 30,000 won, roughly equivalent to $25, Byung-chul demonstrated his business acumen in an era when such a sum represented a significant financial commitment. And his approach to growing Samsung Trading Co. was a masterclass in entrepreneurial agility and foresight. In a span of just 7 years, he transformed the company from a modest operation into a significant player in the national market. This rapid expansion can be attributed to his keen understanding of the evolving Korean market, his ability to forge pivotal business relationships, and a relentless pursuit of diversification and innovation in business practices. By 1945, Samsung Trading Company had expanded its operations across the country, becoming a prominent name in the transportation of produce. This success prompted Byung-chul to relocate to Seoul in 1947, seeking new horizons in the nation's capital. However, in 1950, the burgeoning trajectory of Samsung and the fate of South Korea took a dramatic turn with the outbreak of the Korean War. The conflict, rooted in the deep-seated ideological divide between the Communist North and the capitalist South, escalated following the North's invasion of the South, and this geopolitical upheaval was a stark manifestation of the Cold War tensions, fracturing the Korean peninsula and its people. Consequently forced to move back to Busan due to the conflict, Byung-chul faced a daunting challenge. Yet, in the turmoil of war, he discovered unexpected opportunities. The influx of American soldiers, part of the United States' effort to support South Korea against the North's aggression, created a new market dynamic, and the presence of these foreign troops, with their distinct needs and consumption patterns, opened new avenues for Samsung Trading Company. Byung-chul adeptly capitalized on this situation, adapting his business to cater to this new clientele. Therefore, the war years, while a period of great hardship for many, paradoxically proved to be a boon for Samsung Trading Company, as the company played a crucial role in meeting the increased demand for goods and services, thereby solidifying its position in the Korean economy. In the aftermath of the Korean War, Lee Byung-chul, with visionary zeal, steered Samsung into the realm of textiles, recognizing the pivotal role this sector could play in Korea's economic resurgence. This strategic expansion marked the beginning of a phenomenal growth trajectory for Samsung, transforming it from a national contender into a global powerhouse. And the 1960s heralded a period of diversification and acquisition under Byung-chul's leadership. His astute business strategies led to the acquisition of multiple insurance companies, a department store, an oil refinery, and a nylon company. Subsequently, this period of aggressive expansion underlined Samsung's ambition to become a conglomerate with a varied portfolio, a goal that was rapidly becoming a reality. Then, 1969 was a watershed year for Samsung as it ventured into the electronics industry. The establishment of its first electronic divisions and the subsequent production of black and white televisions marked Samsung's foray into what would become its flagship sector. And the success was immediate and staggering. Samsung soon became the world's largest producer of black and white televisions. Concurrently, other subsidiaries began to manufacture home appliances, which quickly garnered acclaim within Korea for their quality and innovation. Furthermore, during this era of expansion and success, Byung-chul's son, Lee Kun-hee, started to show a keen interest in the family business. Fresh from his studies at George Washington University, Kun-hee was groomed by his father, learning the intricate realities of steering a company as dynamic and successful as Samsung. Then, the 1980s saw Byung-chul relentlessly driving Samsung's evolution into a technological titan. Under his guidance, the company branched out into semiconductors, electronics, aerospace, and in 1985, the establishment of Samsung Data Systems marked its entry into the information technology sector. These bold moves laid the groundwork for Samsung's future as a global leader in technology and innovation. But then, in 1987, the visionary founder of Samsung, Lee Byung-chul, passed away at the age of 77. At the time of his passing, his estimated net worth was around $35 million, equal to roughly 94 million today, standing as a symbol of his extraordinary ability to turn a modest investment into a multi-million-dollar empire. But Byung-chul's legacy extends far beyond his personal wealth. He was instrumental in the rebirth and growth of Korea's post-war economy, playing a crucial role in the nation's industrial and technological advancements. His life's work, Samsung, not only revolutionized business practices in Korea, but also set new benchmarks in global corporate leadership. However, in order to enter into truly old money territory, the Lee family would need their second generation of heirs to not only match Daddy's performance, but actually outdo the patriarch. Let's see in the next chapter of They Succeeded. In the wake of Lee Byung-chul's passing, a significant restructuring took place within the Samsung empire, and the conglomerate was divided into 5 distinct entities, reflecting a strategic decision to diversify and specialize. First, Lee Kun-hee, Byung-chul's son, assumed control of Samsung Electronics, a move that would herald a new era for the company. His siblings, meanwhile, took charge of the remaining divisions, each carving their own path in the expansive Samsung landscape. And under Lee Kun-hee's stewardship, Samsung Electronics was poised for a transformation. Kun-hee perceived the company, as it stood, to be in a state of stagnation, a stark contrast to its dynamic and innovative beginnings. And this perception was not without basis. Despite its size and reach, Samsung had become mired in a comfort zone, with its strategies and products reflecting a reluctance to venture beyond familiar territories and challenge existing paradigms. Thus, determined to elevate Samsung Electronics to a global stature, Lee Kun-hee embarked on a radical overhaul. He identified a core issue, a cultural inertia within Korean corporate society that hindered innovation and discouraged dissenting opinions. To break this mold, Kun-hee introduced a new management philosophy, encouraging open dialogue, critical thinking, and a departure from the hierarchical norms that stifled creativity and risk-taking. Furthermore, Kun-hee's emphasis on quality over quantity marked a significant shift from the prevailing industry norms. Rather than churning out a plethora of products, he focused on refining a select few, ensuring they surpassed international standards. This strategy was thus not just about competing, it was about setting new benchmarks in quality and innovation. Therefore, the late 80s and 90s saw Samsung Electronics expand its footprint globally, with new manufacturing plants sprouting from England to Texas. This expansion was complemented by a foray into diverse technological ventures, including automobile manufacturing and the acquisition of international companies like Lux and Reli. Soon, Kun-hee's aggressive expansion tactics bore fruit. By 1995, Samsung Electronics' revenue soared to $87 billion, accounting for a significant portion of South Korea's GDP. Yet, success often walks hand in hand with controversy. In 1996, Lee Kun-hee's leadership came under scrutiny following allegations of political bribery linked to then-President Roh Tae-woo. Accused of engaging in corrupt practices, Kun-hee faced a 2-year prison sentence. However, the sentence was initially suspended and subsequently, Kun-hee received a political pardon from President Kim Young-sam. But this episode, while a blemish on his career, did not detract from the monumental impact Lee Kun-hee had on transforming Samsung Electronics, and by extension, South Korea's presence in the global technological arena. His vision and relentless pursuit of excellence propelled Samsung into an era of unprecedented growth and innovation, firmly establishing it as a titan in the global market. Next, during the next decades, Samsung not only weathered the storm of the Asian financial crisis, but also emerged as a leader in the global technology market. The crisis, which swept through Asia from July 1997 to December 1998, tested the mettle of many Asian conglomerates. Samsung, under Kun-hee's guidance, navigated these turbulent times with strategic foresight, strengthening its position in the global economy. And a key milestone in Samsung's journey was the launch of the first Galaxy smartphone in the early 2000s. This product swiftly gained acclaim worldwide, catapulting Samsung into a major player in the smartphone market. In parallel, 2006 marked another triumph for the company as it ascended to the position of the top-selling television manufacturer. These successes were emblematic of Samsung's growing dominance and its ability to innovate and adapt to changing market dynamics. However, the sheen of these achievements was dulled in 2008 when Lee Kun-hee again faced serious legal challenges. He was found guilty of tax evasion, a charge that led to fines exceeding $80 million and a 3-year prison sentence. Similar to the past, Kun-hee was pardoned, reflecting a complex interplay of business, politics, and law in South Korea. This legal debacle resulted in Kun-hee temporarily stepping down as chairman of Samsung Electronics in 2008. But Kun-hee's hiatus from the helm of Samsung was short-lived. He returned to the leadership position in 2010, demonstrating his obsessive commitment to the company's growth and innovation. Under his renewed leadership, Samsung continued to expand its technological footprint, delving into new products such as tablets and smartwatches. However, in 2014, Lee Kun-hee's health took a turn for the worse when he suffered a heart attack, leading him to step down from his active leadership role. He retained the title of chairman but passed the baton of day-to-day management to his son, Lee Jae-yong, who took on the role of de facto director. This transition marked a new chapter in Samsung's history, one that would be navigated by the now third generation of the iconic Lee family. Unfortunately, rather than righting the family ship back on course in the legal realm. More criminal trouble would soon be afoot for the Lees. Lee Jae-yong's tenure at the helm of Samsung has been mired in legal controversies, casting a shadow over the tech giant's impressive achievements, and the most significant of these controversies erupted in 2017, revealing a tangled web of bribery and corruption. Central to this scandal was the revelation that Lee Jae-yong had bribed South Korea's former president, Park Geun-hye. Among various illicit transactions, the most striking, perhaps, was the embezzlement of company funds to purchase an $800,000 horse for Park's daughter. Lee Jae-yong initially served a year of his prison sentence before it was suspended. However, this respite was short-lived as, in January 2021, his sentence was reinstated, leading to another 6 months behind bars before he was granted a presidential pardon. Shockingly, the legal woes for Lee Jae-yong did not end there. In the same year, he faced conviction and a fine of $59,000 for using the illegal sedative propofol. His defense, citing stress relief, failed to sway the court's judgment. Furthermore, allegations surfaced in 2023 linking Lee to a $3.9 billion accounting fraud scandal dating back to 2015, with prosecutors accusing him of manipulating stock prices of 2 Samsung subsidiaries, a move aimed at consolidating his control over the conglomerate. While prosecutors sought a 5-year imprisonment, the outcome of this case remained pending at the time of this report. Despite these tumultuous legal challenges, Samsung Electronics' business performance has remained robust. In the third quarter of 2023, the company held a significant 19.4% market share in the smartphone industry, trailing only behind Apple. Moreover, Samsung has laid out ambitious plans for the future, focusing on integrating advanced AI models into its upcoming generations of smartphones and electronics. Lee Jae-yong continues to steer Samsung even as he faces the possibility of further jail time, and this juxtaposition of business success and personal legal strife paints a complex picture of the Samsung dynasty. On the surface, the company's achievements and market dominance depict a tale of triumph and innovation. However, a deeper examination reveals a less pristine narrative, marked by legal entanglements and ethical questions, much like almost any old money family we've investigated on this channel. In the vibrant landscape of Mexico, a nation celebrated for its exquisite cuisine, idyllic weather, and the friendly warmth of its people, lies a paradox. This country, often associated with the more relaxed and enjoyable aspects of the good life, is also marked by a relentless struggle for power within its society. It's a place where contrasts don't just exist, they thrive, painting a picture of a nation perpetually balancing between joy and strife. Similarly, the Middle East stands as a region of dichotomies. It's a land where the 21st century has ushered in unprecedented wealth, opulence, and business opportunities. Yet it remains a place often synonymous with political unrest and a history of its citizens moving elsewhere to seek new horizons. Between these two legendary cultures on either side of the Atlantic emerges a remarkable story of a family that embodies the essence of both these worlds, deftly maneuvering away from crushing instability to the heights of unfathomable wealth and almost unmatched political power. Today we tell their full story, from the sand-swept shores of Lebanon to the picturesque mountain peaks sloping through Mexico City to the very top of any list containing the world's richest families, as we describe. The Slims, the Middle Eastern family who own Mexico. In the world of high-flying billionaires, few soar as high as Carlos Slim and his family. With a staggering net worth hovering around $99.1 billion, the Slims aren't just rich, they're a financial juggernaut and a force to be reckoned with. At the heart of this empire lies Carlos Slim, a titan of industry whose Midas touch has turned everything from telecoms to retail into gold. And the secret behind this colossal fortune is, for starts, Slim's ownership in América Móvil, Latin America's premier mobile phone operator, playing a pivotal role. But that's just the beginning. His investment tentacles stretch far and wide, from Grupo Carso, a conglomerate dabbling in everything from construction to automotive, to banking giant Grupo Financiero Inbursa. And even the iconic New York Times finds itself within Slim's vast portfolio. But it's not just businesses. Carlos Slim has an eye for real estate too. Take the Benjamin N. Duke House, a Gilded Age architectural gem in New York City, snapped up by Slim for a cool $44 million, and now valued at an eye-watering $80 million. This isn't just a house, it's a statement, a piece of history, an architectural marvel that boasts 8 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms, all stitched together with a grand staircase. But Slim's taste for luxury doesn't stop at real estate. His car collection is nothing short of spectacular. Mexico's billionaire boss can often be found in a Bentley Continental Flying Spur, with his garage also housing treasures like a Navy Mercedes 4x4 and a vintage Cadillac 1941. But don't be fooled by these sometime opulent road machines. Slim is mostly known for his surprisingly modest driving habits, preferring to keep his car choices low-key for day-to-day use. And then there's the Oster, Slim's floating palace. A 52-meter yacht from the esteemed feedship fleet, the Oster is a marvel of modern engineering, boasting a steel hull and an aluminum superstructure. Costing, for him, a mere $40 million, it's a floating reminder of Slim's love for the finer things in life. Yet, amidst this grandeur, Carlos Slim is a study in contrasts. Despite his unfathomable wealth, he leads a surprisingly modest life in Mexico City. He drives himself to work, a rare sight in a country plagued by kidnappings, and he's also a man of culture, owning a museum that houses his collection of relics and artifacts. But make no mistake, Carlos Slim's influence isn't confined to the boardroom. He's a towering figure in Mexico's social and political spheres. His business acumen and political connections have made him a kingmaker of sorts, blurring the lines between corporate and political power. As for the Slim legacy, it's in safe hands. Carlos Slim's progeny, led by eldest son Carlos Slim Domit, are steering the ship, ensuring the family's business empire not only endures but thrives. However, the most interesting thing about the Slim family isn't their toys and tantalizing assets. It's their extremely unique background in the exclusive 0.001%. Indeed, in the intricate mosaic of global business moguls, the Slim family lineage has a story as rich as their empire, starting way back when on the dusty shores of Ottoman-ruled Lebanon. Let's rewind back to 19th century Ottoman-ruled Lebanon, a place that certainly wasn't the nation we know today. It was here, in this cradle of ancient civilizations, where Slim's maternal grandparents, Saleh or Jose Antonio Helu, and Wadiha or Emilia Alexandra Atamutran, emerged. During their life, Carlos Slim's grandparents would set sail for Mexico, embedding themselves in the rich, unique land of Parral, Chihuahua, a bustling hub of mineral wealth. Here, their daughter, Linda Helu, the mother of Carlos Slim, was born into this blend of Lebanese spirit and Mexican industriousness, forming a bridge between two vibrant cultures. You see, as the 20th century dawned, waves of Lebanese fleeing Ottoman conscription had found solace in Mexico. Thus, Carlos Slim's mother wasn't the only ancestor of the future multi-billionaire Slim family to help build this mighty lineage. Among the additional Lebanese immigrants who came during this time was Julian Slim Haddad, Carlos's father, who at 14 embarked on a journey from Lebanon to Mexico. Julian, embodying the Lebanese immigrant ethos, started humbly as a dry goods trader, and his entrepreneurial spirit soon bore fruit, culminating in the opening of La Estrella de Oriente in 1911, a milestone in his burgeoning retail career. Then, 1926 saw Julian unite with the aforementioned Linda Helu, intertwining two Lebanese immigrant families and strengthening their foothold in Mexican society. This union was more than a marriage. It was a fusion of cultural and commercial legacies. Next, the roaring 20s and 30s were a period of expansion for Julian, who delved into real estate, riding the wave of Mexico City's growth. His astuteness in acquiring key properties laid the foundation for a real estate empire that flourished in post-revolutionary Mexico. Consequently, Julian wasn't just a businessman. He was a mentor to his children, especially Carlos. Therefore, young Carlos would soon become no stranger to the nuances of trade and investment. However, To get the full picture of the childhood of the $99 billion Middle Eastern mogul who rules the Mexican business world, we must start at the beginning, where on the rocky streets of Mexico City, a young boy destined for greatness came into the world. On the 28th of January 1940, Carlos Slim Helú's journey to becoming one of the richest men in the world began humbly, in the heart of Mexico's capital city. And from his early days, it was evident that Carlos was not your average child. By 12, he had already stepped into the world of finance, buying shares in the Bank of Mexico. But this early dive into finance wasn't just a youthful whim. It was a clear indicator of his burgeoning business acumen. Under the guidance of his father, who was a firm believer in financial literacy, Carlos and his siblings were introduced to the world of finance. Each child received a ledger to keep track of their expenses, a practice that undoubtedly shaped Carlos's understanding of money management, and was perhaps unknowingly similar to the famous childhood ledgers of none other than a young John D. Rockefeller himself. Now, even as a teenager, Carlos Slim's flair for numbers was already apparent, and by 15, he was already a shareholder in Mexico's largest bank. However, tragically, at the age of 13, Carlos's father passed away. This loss marked a turning point in his life, thrusting upon him a sense of responsibility and shaping his future endeavors in the business world. But Carlos's academic path was as strategic as his business ventures. He chose to study civil engineering at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, or UNAM, a discipline that would later play a pivotal role in his business dealings. You see, Slim's decision to study civil engineering was far from random. It was a calculated move that would provide him with a unique perspective in the business arena, and his expertise in mathematics and linear programming, honed during his engineering studies, gave him an edge in dissecting financial statements and understanding market trends. Simultaneously, his academic pursuits were paralleled by practical forays into the world of investment, as he began dabbling in stocks and real estate. It was thus, during his university years, that Carlos laid the first stone of his business empire, starting with a stock brokerage, Inversora Bursátil. Upon graduating in 1961, Carlos Slim had not only acquired an engineering degree, but had also set the stage for his ascent in the business world. His investments were diverse, ranging across various sectors, laying the groundwork for what would become the conglomerate Grupo Carso. Thus, in 1965, Carlos Slim began to construct the edifice of Grupo Carso, and at 25, he was already laying the bricks of his future empire. He incorporated Inmobiliaria Carso in January 1966, a mere 3 months before tying the knot with Sumaya Domit Gemail, and the name Carso itself, a blend of Carlos and Sumaya's names, symbolizes the union of personal and professional aspirations that would drive Slim's relentless pursuit of business excellence. So in the later half of the swinging 60s, while the world was busy with moon landings and rock and roll, Carlos Slim was quietly reshaping Mexico's economic landscape. Grupo Carso, his brainchild, wasn't just diversifying, it was rewriting the rules of business. Slim, with an eagle's eye for potential, transformed real estate and construction into realms of untapped possibilities. As the 70s dawned, Slim's canvas broadened, encompassing the gritty world of mining and the intricate webs of finance. Yet, the true brilliance of this business titan came to light in the 1982 economic turmoil. While others saw doom, Slim saw a sale of a lifetime. He embarked on an acquisition spree, reminiscent of a grand strategist in a global game of monopoly. From retail giants like Sanborns to significant stakes in global firms, Slim collected assets like a connoisseur amasses art. Then, while the 1990s brought with them the dawn of the digital age and for Slim, the jewel in the crown, Telmex, Mexico's primary telecommunications company. This $1.76 billion acquisition was not just a transaction, it was a strategic masterstroke, propelling Slim into the telecom limelight. And under his guidance, Telmex transformed from a national player into a telecommunications juggernaut. It revamped its infrastructure, embraced the internet, and became Mexico's digital gateway. But as the 20th century bowed out, Slim's vision soared beyond Mexico's borders. Telmex, by then a telecom titan, embarked on a conquest of the Americas. And this expansion wasn't mere growth, it was a demonstration of Slim's global ambition. From Central America to the United States, and then to the heart of Brazil and Chile, Slim was not just connecting people, he was connecting worlds. It was at this time that Carlos Slim and his burgeoning family would start reaching their apex. But first, they would have to diversify their plans even more than the world ever thought imaginable. In the early 2000s, while the rest of us were grappling with the dawn of the internet age, Slim was busy etching his name in the echelons of the ultra-rich. In the year 2000, Forbes famously took note, but let's be honest, they were just stating the obvious. By 2005, Slim's empire was more than a shopping list of companies. It was a veritable smorgasbord of business ingenuity. Retail, technology, finance, you name it, he owned a slice of it. Indeed, his portfolio was like a well-seasoned paella, with a bit of everything tossed in, including a dash of Volaris, the Mexican airline. By then, his wealth wasn't just impressive. It was the stuff of legend, thanks to his conglomerate, Grupo Carso, and a telecom empire, featuring America Móvil, Telcel, and ISP Telmex. Come 2007, Slim did the financial equivalent of a moonwalk past Bill Gates, snagging the title of the world's richest man with a cool $59 billion. At this time, Slim's grip on the Mexican stock exchange was so tight, it was as if he'd confused it for a stress ball. With a third of the market under his belt, his dominance in telecom was akin to a Shakespearean king, albeit one facing murmurs of monopoly. The next decade saw Slim dip his toes into infrastructure, like a seasoned chef trying his hand at a new recipe, with his infrastructure company bagging contracts to build roads. And the buzz was that he was eyeing the construction of Mexico City's new airport terminal. Infrastructure, after all, is the backbone of any economy, and Slim was not one to miss a vertebrate. Then, 2012 was when Slim decided to play Santa, but instead of toys, he brought the Carlos Slim Foundation to the table, aiming to uplift Mexico and Latin America through education and technology. The second half of the 2010s witnessed Slim's version of a world tour, taking America Móvil on a Euro-American adventure, beefing up his stake in Telekom Austria AG, and becoming the largest investor in the New York Times. However, I think we can all say that a ton of this individual success for Carlos Slim wouldn't have been possible without the help of his wife and children, not only the backbone of his personal life, but the future of the Slim family empire. Let's investigate their backstory to get a better understanding of how this potential future old money family maintains a firm grasp on their generational wealth. In 1967, Carlos Slim married Sumaya Domit, and let's just say it wasn't your average walk down the aisle. This union wasn't just about swapping rings. It was the start of a saga where love and business waltzed in harmony. Fast forward to 1970, and the Slim household was bustling with 3 kids, and family wasn't just a word for them, it was their cornerstone. You see, Sumaya Domit was no ordinary better half. She was a dynamo in her own right, a philanthropist, an art patron, a woman whose heart was as big as her husband's bank account. She wasn't just handing out charity, she was changing lives, from supporting students and artists to laying down the law for organ donation. And if you're wondering why the big push for organ donation, let's just say she had skin in the game, having braved a kidney transplant herself. But her pièce de résistance was the Museo Sumaya, a museum that is a love letter in concrete and steel from Carlos to Sumaya. Stuffed with art that would make even the snobbiest of connoisseurs nod in approval, it was a fitting tribute to a woman whose taste in art was as refined as her sense of philanthropy. 1999 sadly brought a curtain call to Sumaya Domit's life, ending a 33-year matrimonial marathon with Carlos. But even in the face of tragedy, as the millennium turned, the Slim clan wasn't just sitting on their laurels. 2000 saw Carlos's children stepping into the corporate coliseum, armored and ready. And this wasn't simple nepotism. This was strategic dynasty building, Slim style. Grupo Carso, Telmex. You name it, they were there, learning to steer the ship. By 2010, Carlos's boys weren't just filling daddy's shoes, they were sprinting in them. Carlos Jr., the big brother, was juggling chairmanships while Patrick and Marco Antonio were not far behind, carving their own niches. We might say that Carlos Sr.'s mantra was something like, "I'm not just leaving you a fortune, I'm leaving you a legacy to uphold." But as the 2020s roll on, the rumblings about who will inherit Slim's economic throne grow louder. It's a family affair, with Slim's now grown kids primed to take over an empire that sprawls across telecommunications, finance and retail, a trifecta of power and prosperity. First, Carlos Slim Domit, the eldest son, is not just warming a seat, he's the chairman of América Móvil, Grupo Sanborns, Teléfonos de México and Grupo Carso. Then there's Marco Antonio Slim Domit, steering Grupo Financiero in Bursa and several other financial juggernauts. And not to be outdone, Patrick Slim Domit plays a dual role, the chairman of Grupo Telvista and Sears Operadora Mexico, and CEO at Grupo Sanborns. But let's not forget the Slim daughters, Sumaya, Vanessa and Johanna, who are not just ornaments in this family portrait. They're at the forefront of the family's business and philanthropic endeavors. Vanessa Slim Domit is not just a figurehead. She's the president of the Association for Improvement for Mexico and Latin America and directs wellness programs of the Carlos Slim Foundation and the Telmex Foundation. While Johanna Slim Domit, the youngest, isn't just along for the ride, she's the director of the initial education program of the Carlos Slim Foundation and a board member of several companies. Thus, the Slim family's succession plan isn't a mere handover, it's a meticulously crafted relay race, ensuring the baton of wealth and influence doesn't drop. Indeed, in many family businesses, a clumsy succession can spell disaster, turning familial love into a Shakespearean tragedy, but not here. Carlos Slim, ever the strategist, is ensuring his successors are as prepared as they are privileged, armed with mentorship, training, and a clear line of communication. And then there's the other side of the coin. As with any tale of immense wealth and power, controversy is never far behind. Some view the Slims as symbols of Mexico's economic divide, while others raise eyebrows at their philanthropic motivations. However, undeterred by criticism, the Slims continue their quest to blend business with benevolence, aiming to cement a legacy that's not just wealthy but also worthy. As the future unfolds, the Slims stand poised to continue their domination of Mexico's economic landscape, attempting to intertwine their business ventures and philanthropic efforts to shape the nation's destiny. When discussing the topic of old money families in Africa, all too often the common assumption is that these dynasties are of European descent. Indeed, the history of European commerce interacting with Africa's abundant natural resources is characterized by centuries of tension, division, and societal upheaval. But what if we were to tell you that the current richest person in Africa doesn't just belong to an old money family with a legacy of wealth spanning over 100 years? He isn't even the first member of his family to be crowned the richest person on the continent. On today's episode, we dive into the story of perhaps the quintessential old money family of Africa. And they're not of European descent. In fact, this family is so prominent that they've not just had not one, not two, but three members, each at different times, reported as the richest individuals in West Africa. Therefore, join us as we explore the fascinating journey of this extraordinary legacy, home to the current richest man in Africa, describing the Dangote family, the secret old money family that owns West Africa. Aliko Dangote, Nigeria's very own business titan and philanthropist, has bank accounts bursting at the seams with a net worth of $13.9 billion, says Forbes. Bloomberg, however, ups the ante to a whopping $22 billion. Why the disparity? Well, pinning down the exact worth of this mogul is like trying to catch smoke. It's all about different calculations and the ever-fluctuating tides of stocks and currency rates. Now, Dangote, the kingpin of Dangote Industries, has his fingers in many pies: cement, sugar, salt, oil, you name it. And the crown jewel of his empire is a commanding 86% stake in Dangote Cement, the heavyweight of cement production in sub-Saharan Africa, churning out 48.6 million metric tons yearly across 10 countries. But that's just the tip of the diamond-encrusted iceberg, with stakes in Dangote Sugar, Nascon Allied Industries, and United Bank for Africa adding to the mix. Furthermore, Dangote's been cooking up a $19 billion oil refinery, a game-changer for Nigeria's oil dependency. This behemoth project, not even counted yet in his current fortune, could churn out $30 billion annually from a smorgasbord of petroleum products. And this move could skyrocket Dangote's wealth and reshape Nigeria's economic landscape. And, in a dramatic twist, Dangote Cement's shares doubled in the last month, padding Dangote's pockets with an extra $6.9 billion. Credit partly goes to Nigerian tycoon Femi Otedola's buying spree, boosting Dangote's wealth to its highest in a decade. And despite political shuffles and currency devaluation post-election, Dangote's fortune still ballooned by $400 million, crowning him Africa's richest for the 13th consecutive year. Yes, year, not month. But what's a billionaire without a touch of extravagance? Dangote's Lagos mansion, a modest $25 million affair, sprawls over 3 hectares and boasts a garage for 100 cars. And his garage is a petrolhead's dream, a Maybach 57S night luxury tricked out by Night Luxury with a carbon fiber facelift and a 712 horsepower engine, a classy Mercedes-Benz CL65 AMG with a turbocharged V12, a $2 million Bugatti Veyron that's as fast as it is pricey, and a Bentley Mulsanne, the epitome of Bentley's craftsmanship. And let's not forget his wings, 2 private jets, including a $45 million Bombardier Global Express XRS and a $43 million yacht, a floating testament to his success. Furthermore, even Dangote's taste in watches is nothing short of opulent. For his daughter Fatima's wedding, he picked out a Harry Winston diamond watch, a snip at 32,000s. Speaking of Dangote's children, including Fatima, Halima, and Abdulrahman Fasasi, they lead lives as fascinating as their father. And they don't just bask in the shadow of daddy's fortune. They're carving their own niches, particularly in the luxe world of high society. While the family keeps a tight lid on their private life, they're no strangers to the glittering social circuit, often gracing high-profile events with their presence. Halima Dangote, for example, echoing her father's business acumen, is a familiar face in these elite gatherings, known for her poise and elegance. But it's not all champagne and caviar. They're deeply rooted in philanthropy, mirroring Aliko Dangote's commitment to bettering lives. With giving back on our minds, Aliko Dangote isn't just about amassing wealth. He's equally passionate about spreading it. In March 2014, he generously endowed his Aliko Dangote Foundation with $1.25 billion, amplifying its impact in health, education, and economic empowerment. He's also teamed up with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to tackle polio and other pressing issues. And this philanthropic spirit trickles down to his children, who actively partake in various charitable endeavors, proving that the Dangote legacy is as much about generosity as it is about wealth. Now, while it's all well and good to hear about the fabulously wealthy current generation of the family, you've probably been wondering since the intro of this video how Aliko came to be not even the first member of his family to don the title of Africa's richest man. In order to do that, we'll have to circle back to the African sands of the 19th century to learn the lessons of the family patriarch who went from humble beginnings to the richest man in the cradle of humanity. The Dangote family's legacy originates in Bebeji, now located within the contemporary boundaries of Nigeria's Kano state. Now, the dynasty's rise to power first began with the birth of the future richest man in sub-Saharan Africa, the legendary family patriarch Alhassan Dantata, in 1877. It was here, within the historic Kano Emirate, an erstwhile pre-colonial state and a part of the Sokoto Caliphate established in the 19th century, that Dantata was poised to become a prominent figure in Africa's commercial history. Now, Dantata's upbringing was deeply rooted in the culture of the Hausa people, one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. And during the 1870s, the Hausa, renowned for their trading prowess, were central to the intricate tribal networks that shaped northern Nigeria. These groups, including the Fulani, who were often closely associated with the Hausa in cultural and governance aspects, significantly influenced the region's social and political framework, and Dantata's early life was marked by his lineage in the Agalawa trading family. The caravan trade routes, central to his parents Abdullahi and Fatima Maduga Amaria's livelihood, were a defining aspect of his heritage. However, Dantata's world was transformed with the early loss of his parents, catapulting him into unforeseen challenges. Responsibility and care for Dantata then fell to Tata, a loyal servant in the family. Honoring this guardian, he adopted the name Dantata, meaning son of Tata, a moniker that would not only reflect his humble beginnings, but also stand as a symbol of the resilience and strength that would come to define one of Africa's most distinguished families. Dantata's education began at a Quranic school in Bebeji. With his father's wealth seemingly dissipated, he was compelled to fend for himself, and he worked diligently, saving his earnings in a traditional pottery vessel known as asusu. Soon, his keen business sense and relentless work ethic propelled him to become a successful trader. You see, Dantata specialized in kola nuts and groundnuts, and his trade networks reached across Europe, and by 1922 he had emerged as Kano's wealthiest businessman, surpassing his contemporaries in the trading sphere. Renowned for his meticulous financial management and close supervision of his workforce, Dantata's approach to business was methodical and disciplined, and as a pioneering merchant in adopting bookkeeping practices, Dantata's attention to detail played a crucial role in his commercial triumphs. And his wife, Amina Uma Zaria, was not just a supportive partner, but a businesswoman in her own right. She managed a network of agents across Kano City, ensuring the efficient distribution of goods to women and the timely collection of payments. Thus, as Dantata's life progressed, he imparted valuable lessons to his descendants, emphasizing the importance of maintaining the family's commercial heritage and the value of strong familial ties. This legacy of wisdom and entrepreneurial spirit continues to resonate within the Dantata family, guiding successive generations in their endeavors, and his final days were spent ensuring the survival and prosperity of his lineage. Upon Dantata's death in 1955, he was firmly placed as the richest man in West Africa, leading to his legacy as the very first member of Aliko Dangote's family to hold this distinction. Then, the mantle of leadership descended upon Aminu Dantata in 1960, and under Aminu's guiding star, the family business Al-Hassan Dantata and Sons expanded its horizons, venturing into new realms of building, construction, and trading. However, it wasn't simply Aminu who gained power after the patriarch passed. Dantata's 18 children, each a bearer of his legacy, received a piece of his empire, in accordance with the rhythms of Islamic tradition. Among them, one Sanusi Dantata, Aliko Dangote's grandfather, inherited a portion of this vast economic kingdom. Born from this rich heritage around 1919, also in Kano, Nigeria, Sanusi's early years were a brief time spent in formal education at Dala Elementary School. But this was a fleeting encounter before the magnetic pull of familial trade drew him into its orbit. And this shift from classroom to commerce was a common trajectory in his era, especially among those born into the bustling lanes of trade and entrepreneurship. Thus, in the next chapter, we'll find out how he began the second member of the family to become one of the wealthiest men in Africa. Sanusi Dantata's early life was steeped in the complex patrimonial system of his family's trading empire, and this intricate network, involving a legion of associates, agents, and farmers, was a vibrant ecosystem where Sanusi and his brother Aminu orchestrated the movements of about 200 agents. These agents, the lifeblood of their operations, dealt in commodities like kola nuts, livestock, and ground nuts, and this rich exposure to the subtleties of trade and commerce honed Sanusi's skills as a future entrepreneur. However, Sanusi's life was not just defined by commerce, but also by his deep cultural roots. As a devout Muslim, his spiritual journey mixed with his worldly pursuits, and he was not only a benefactor to the Qadiriyya, a prominent Islamic school of thought, but also a personal friend of its leading scholar. This spiritual dimension of his life was as vital as his business acumen. And by the swinging 60s, Sanusi had risen to become Nigeria's preeminent groundnut buying agent. His wealth, however, was not kept to himself. Instead, it was a wellspring of generosity, from which about 40,000 Great British pounds flowed annually in credit to friends and the less fortunate, a reflection of his magnanimity. Thus, under British colonial rule, the Dantata family flourished, trading in grains like oats and rice. And Sanusi's business prowess extended beyond Kano, making him one of the city's richest men. Now, the foundation of Dantata's empire rested on a patrimonial system, a complex network of credit, trade, and kin-based business transfers. This model comprised 5 autonomous levels, each integral to the procurement and transportation of goods from remote rural areas. Then, the 70s heralded a new era for the Dantata business saga, characterized by bold expansion and diversification. The family ventured into large-scale farming with Asada Farms and broadened their import business to encompass a wider range of building materials and vehicles. And their foresight to diversify into sectors like telecommunications and the automobile industry was a strategic move that fortified their commercial legacy. Thus, the Dantata family's story weaves through the fabric of Nigerian commerce, a narrative enriched by their astute business strategies, adaptability, and unshakable family bonds. And embedded in this tale of commerce and tradition is the connection to Aliko Dangote, Africa's current richest man. You see, his mother, Maria Sanusi Dantata, was Sanusi's daughter, intertwining the destinies of the Dantatas and Dangotes. The union of Maria and Mohammed Dangote, one of Sanusi's business associates and Aliko's father, was a meeting of 2 powerful African trading legacies, setting the stage for a new chapter in the page of Nigerian and African business history. In the dynamic realm of African business history, Aliko Dangote, born on the 10th of April 1957, stood out as an heir to a family where business acumen and wealth were not just inherited traits but deeply ingrained legacies. And growing up, Dangote was nurtured under the attentive guidance of his parents, the aforementioned Maria Sanusi Dantata and Mohammed Dangote. His early life was profoundly influenced by the commercial prowess of his grandfather, and this familial environment was rich in entrepreneurial ethos and teachings, shaping young Dangote's perspective on business and trade. Dangote's educational journey then commenced at Sheikh Ali Kumasi Madrasa, laying the foundation of his learning. He later attended Capital High School in Kano, furthering his academic pursuits, and these formative years played a pivotal role in molding his future business strategies and philosophies. Yet, even within the scholarly halls, his business inclinations sparkled. He turned pocket money into profit through savvy sweet trading. Post-high school, Dangote's quest for knowledge led him to Al-Azhar University, Egypt's beacon of Islamic learning, where he honed his business intellect with a degree in business administration. The 1980s thus welcomed a seasoned Dangote, armed with his degree, back to Nigeria's vibrant business arena. Born into a family synonymous with commerce, he was already no novice to the trade's ebb and flow, and his initial venture, a small trading firm established in 1977, laid the cornerstone for what would become the Dangote Group. With a loan from his uncle, he plunged into the trading of essentials, rice, sugar, salt, flour and cement, and his business prowess shone brightly as he swiftly repaid the loan within 3 months. 1981 subsequently saw the birth of the Dangote Group, a transformation of his modest firm into a burgeoning conglomerate. Early on, the group's focus was on importing and trading essential commodities, tapping into Nigeria's pulsating demand for these goods. You see, the group's philosophy was steeped in vertical integration, or controlling the journey of its products from importation to distribution. This approach not only streamlined operations, but also amplified profitability, setting a solid foundation for expansion. And throughout the 80s, Dangote's entrepreneurial canvas broadened. His trading routes blossomed into a diverse portfolio, establishing the Dangote Group as a towering presence in Nigeria and gradually across Africa. The group's evolution in this era was a prelude to its ascent as West Africa's largest conglomerate and a potent force in the regional economy. In the 1990s, the Dangote Group embarked on a monumental journey of transformation. Moving away from its established roots in trading, the group steered towards manufacturing, an audacious move aimed at substituting imports and meeting the burgeoning demands of Nigeria. And a defining moment of this era was Dangote's ingenious proposal to the Central Bank of Nigeria, an initiative that bolstered the group's stature and influence within the Nigerian economy. This period saw the group branching into textiles, flour milling, salt processing, and sugar refining, diversifying not only within Nigeria, but also marking its territory across other African nations. The group thus emerged as a cement production powerhouse, extending its reach to over 10 African countries. Therefore, the growth strategy of the Dangote Group was a blend of expansion and diversification, targeting sectors that promised high returns in rapidly developing economies. By the late 90s, the group had morphed into one of Nigeria's largest industrial conglomerates, commanding the sugar market and venturing into realms as diverse as real estate, banking, textiles, oil and gas. Consequently, in the mid-2000s, Dangote's ambitions soared to new heights with the undertaking of the Obajana cement plant, one of the world's largest. Despite challenges, the group's valuation skyrocketed from $3.3 billion in 2008 to $17.3 billion in 2016. However, Dangote's journey to the zenith of wealth was not without its shadows. He faced controversies, including mentions in the Panama Papers and comparisons to other controversial business magnates. Nonetheless, his influence only grew, with his induction into the France-Nigeria Business Council further cementing his global business leadership. Specifically, Dangote's success is rooted in a relentless expansion and reinvestment ethos. With $16 billion in capital projects, including a flagship $14 billion refinery, his empire continued to flourish. And Dangote Cement became a colossus, dominating the African cement market and witnessing substantial revenue growth. However, as we know by now, the key to maintaining generational wealth and continuing to be old money is based on the patriarch's ability to pass on wealth and power to the next generation. Let's get an update on Aliko's children in the next chapter and bring our tale up to the present day. As 2024 unfolds, the Dangote family, an emblem of African entrepreneurial spirit, sees its youngest members actively steering the colossal ship of Dangote Industries Limited, exemplified by the formidable Miss Halima Dangote, Aliko's daughter. Halima, the Group Executive Director of Commercial Operations at DIL, orchestrates a broad swath of the conglomerate's operations, and her realm extends from overseeing commercial strategies to managing strategic procurement and branding. Since joining DIL in 2008, Halima has navigated through various executive roles, notably spearheading a pivotal turnaround as Executive Director of Dangote Flour Mills and guiding its subsequent sale to Olam. Her tenure at NASCON as an Executive Director further honed her expertise in consumer products, and beyond her corporate role, Halima serves as a trustee of the Aliko Dangote Foundation and a board member of Endeavour Nigeria, advocating for entrepreneurship and social advancement. And her educational background is as global as her vision, with a bachelor's in marketing from American Intercontinental University London and an MBA from Webster Business School, United Kingdom. Further complementing her academic credentials are leadership programs from prestigious institutions like Harvard Business School, Kellogg School of Management, and Columbia Business School. Therefore, the Dangote dynasty's aspirations transcend mere business success. They aim to be a transformative force across Africa. The air is thick with tension in the heavy silence of a South Korean courtroom as a monumental battle rages over the vast inheritance left behind by the late Koo Moo, the former chairman of the $89 billion global electronics empire LG Group. On one side stands Koo Mo, the late mogul's nephew, who became the hand-picked heir to the multi-billion-dollar company after Koo Moo's biological son passed prematurely in 1994, keeping in line with the family tradition of passing control to male-only successors. Opposing him on the other side are his own flesh and blood, his two adopted sisters/first cousins, Koo Kyung and Koo Soo, and Koo Moo's widow, Kim Young-sik. They allege deception in the inheritance process, claiming that Koo Mo and other LG executives manipulated events to seize control, depriving them of their rightful share. This lawsuit thus pits the matriarch and daughters against the nephew-turned-heir, challenging the patriarchal traditions that have long dictated succession at LG. With a multi-billion-dollar global fortune and a crucial share of LG Group at stake, the battle lines are drawn. So join us as we describe the full saga of the Koo Family, the $89 billion Asian Game of Thrones for the LG empire. The Koo family, the brains and bucks behind LG Group, one of South Korea's mega conglomerates, has watched their net worth skyrocket recently. And by 2024, this family's collective fortune has been pegged at a jaw-dropping $5.9 billion. At the helm of this money machine is Koo Mo, the current chairman and CEO of LG Corp, the holding company of LG Group. He's got a 17.5% stake, worth a cool $3.2 billion. And under his watch, LG has doubled down on innovation, pledging a whopping $74 billion for the next 5 years in cutting-edge tech like AI, biotech, and clean energy. Furthermore, his adoptive dad, the late Koo Mo, handpicked him as heir, ensuring the family empire didn't miss a beat. Talk about keeping it in the family. But the Koos aren't just tech tycoons. They've spread their investments across real estate, finance, and tech startups, proving they're not just a one-trick pony, and these savvy moves have padded their already bursting bank accounts nicely. Additionally, they're a cornerstone of South Korea's social and economic fabric, ranked as the 4th largest family-operated business, or chaebol, in South Korea, employing over 70,000 people worldwide. And as of 2024, the company's market valuation has hit an eye-watering 14 trillion won, roughly $10 billion, showcasing financial health that would make a bank blush. This boom can be credited to their sharp focus on expanding B2B operations, non-hardware business models, and new growth engines. LG's home appliance and vehicle solutions divisions have been standout performers, posting record-high operating profits. But the Koo family's influence isn't limited to top-tier positions. They have family members and insiders strategically placed across LG's subsidiaries and joint ventures. For example, LG Electronics, the flagship subsidiary, is led by CEO William Cho, another Koo family ally. Beyond business, the Koo family has an impressive real estate portfolio spanning multiple regions. A notable property is at 200 Koo Wee Rup Road in Victoria, Australia, a prime piece reflecting their taste for high-value real estate. They also own 25 Sabella Avenue in the same area, underscoring their substantial investments down under. But let's not forget their penchant for luxury. The Koo family's collection of high-end cars is the stuff of legends, and among their prized possessions is the Rolls-Royce La Rose Noire Droptail, valued at $30 million, the most expensive car in the world in 2024. Then there's the Bugatti La Voiture Noire at $18.68 million, a carbon fiber marvel and homage to the Type 57 SC Atlantic. They also boast the Pagani Zonda HP Barchetta, a custom-built gem worth $17 million, and the Bugatti 110, a $9 million beauty limited to just 10 units. But how did a little-known family, such as the Koo, go from, like so many other South Koreans, escaping the ravages of war, to running a multi-billion-dollar global empire and traversing around in cars that carry a price tag of millions of dollars each? Let's flip over to the next chapter to get our answer, and journey a bit deeper into the LG lore. The story of the Koo family begins with their 12th-generation ancestor, Koo Seong-ro, who lived during the illustrious Goryeo dynasty, a period characterized by significant cultural and political developments in Korea. And the family name Koo, or Koo, has its origins in the Wu-speaking region of China, a region known for its rich cultural heritage and historical significance. As early immigrants from this area arrived in Korea, they Romanized the surname as Koo. Then, over centuries, the Koo surname has become deeply rooted in the annals of East Asian history, ranking in the top 100 most common names in China. But the real foundation of Koo family members who would grow into a legendary business empire begins with the birth of Koo In-hwoi on the 27th of August 1906 in Jisumyeon, Jinyang County, now part of Jinju City, South Gyeongsang Province. And growing up as the eldest son in a family that rigorously adhered to Confucian values, Koo was nurtured in an environment where 4 generations lived together. This familial setup, emphasizing harmony, unity, and respect for elders, was emblematic of Confucian principles and profoundly influenced Koo's management philosophy at LG. Then, Koo In-hwoi's educational journey began at Seoul's Central Normal Higher School, from which he graduated in 1924. Instead of pursuing higher studies, a path often expected of young men of his stature, Koo chose to return to his hometown to engage in business. By the age of 20, in 1926, he had already become the head of the local business cooperative union, showcasing his early entrepreneurial spirit and leadership skills. And this role was a significant achievement at a time when Korea was under Japanese colonial rule and economic opportunities were limited. Subsequently, in 1927, Koo joined the influential Dong-A-Ilbo newspaper, a position that allowed him to refine his business acumen and expand his professional network. Despite facing early setbacks, including a failed store venture with his younger brother in 1931, Koo's determination never wavered, and in the transformative post-war period, in 1947, Koo In Hwoe founded Lak Hwoe Chemical Industrial Corporation, commonly known as Lucky, in Seoul. Initially focusing on cosmetics, Lucky's first major product, Lucky Cream, quickly became popular for its high-quality ingredients and effective marketing. The success of Lucky Cream provided the financial foundation and brand recognition needed for the company's future growth and diversification. By 1952, Lak Hwoe ventured into the plastics industry, becoming the first South Korean company to do so. This strategic move was critical during a time when Korea was recovering from the Korean War and there was a high demand for affordable consumer goods. And by producing a variety of plastic products, including toothbrushes and wash bowls, Lak Hwoe met the domestic needs of a war-torn nation striving for normalcy. But his masterstroke came in 1958, when Koo In Hwoe's entrepreneurial spirit led to the establishment of Gold Star, which would later become LG Electronics. This venture marked Lak Hwoe's entry into the electronics industry, an industry that was still in its infancy in South Korea, and Gold Star's first major product, a radio known as the A501, was thus developed and produced domestically. Introduced in November 1959, the A501 quickly gained popularity, becoming a symbol of technological progress in Korea. And the success of the A501 established by Gold Star laid the groundwork for South Korea's burgeoning electronics industry. Koo's journey, marked by a forward-thinking mindset, came to an end in December 1969 when he passed away at the age of 63. However, his son, Koo Cha-kyung, would take the reins the next year and expand what would become the LG brand to heights even the old patriarch could scarcely imagine. Koo Cha-kyung, Koo In Hwoe's son, was born on the 24th of April 1925 in Jinju, Korea, and upon the death of his father on the last day of the year 1960, Koo Cha-kyung assumed the role of chairman. Now, one of his first major actions was to take the company public in 1970, making it the first privately held firm in South Korea to do so. This strategic decision provided the company with the capital needed to fuel its expansion and innovation efforts. And under his leadership, LG Group's revenue grew exponentially from 26 billion won to 30 trillion won, reflecting the company's successful expansion into new markets and industries. Specifically, Koo Cha-kyung's leadership style was characterized by a focus on innovation and global expansion. He oversaw the company's diversification into various sectors, including electronics, chemicals, and telecommunications. This diversification was crucial in establishing LG as a global brand, and during his tenure, LG expanded its operations across Asia, Europe, and North America, significantly increasing its international presence and market share. Koo Bon-moo, the next in line, began his journey with the family business in 1975, a year after graduating from university. At the time, he joined Lucky Chemical, the predecessor of LG Chem, and embarked on a remarkable career that would shape the future of the conglomerate. By 1980, Koo Bon-moo's talents were recognized, and he was transferred to Gold Star, the electronics division of the company. This move proved pivotal, allowing him to immerse himself in the rapidly evolving world of consumer electronics, and from 1983 to 1985, he headed the company's Tokyo office, further broadening his horizons and preparing him for the global challenges that lay ahead. As the 1980s progressed, Koo Bon-moo played a crucial role in driving the company's expansion and innovation. Under his guidance, the conglomerate ventured into new territories, diversifying its product portfolio and solidifying its position in the global market. But it was Koo Moo's ascent to the chairmanship of LG Group in 1995 that marked a significant turning point for the company as he succeeded his father, Koo Cha-kyung, as chairman of LG Group, following the family's tradition of male-only succession. Seated at the throne, Koo Moo's strategic vision was instrumental in transforming LG from a local manufacturer into a global technological powerhouse. One of his first major initiatives was rebranding the company from Lucky Gold Star to LG, a move aimed at modernizing the brand and enhancing its global appeal. This rebranding was part of a broader strategy to expand LG's presence in international markets and diversify its product offerings. Under his leadership, LG established three key business units within the company: LG Electronics, LG Chem, and LG Uplus, which became pillars of the conglomerate's growth. He was particularly focused on the development of LCD displays, which became a core competence for LG as it expanded into television and smartphone manufacturing. And his bold investments in rechargeable batteries and other cutting-edge technologies positioned LG as a leader in these sectors. Furthermore, Koo Moo's tenure saw LG's annual sales skyrocket from 30 trillion won in 1995 to 160 trillion won by the time of his death in 2018. However, in 1994, Koo Moo faced a profound personal tragedy with the loss of his only son. This event led to a significant decision in 2004 when he adopted his nephew, Koo Moo, thereby ensuring the continuation of the family's leadership within LG Group. This decision was reflective of the family's adherence to a tradition of male succession. But Koo Moo's adoption of Koo Moo was not just a personal family matter. It was also an attempted strategic move to maintain the continuity of leadership within LG Group, highlighting his influence and foresight in both family and business realms. Yet little did he know that this very change in succession planning would lead to the greatest internal crisis that the Koo family, and thus LG, had faced yet. Koo Moo, the aforementioned former chairman of LG Group, passed away in 2018 without leaving a will, leading to a power struggle over his estimated $1.5 billion fortune and 11% stake in the company. Koo Moo, the nephew and adopted son of Koo Moo, quickly succeeded him as chairman of LG Group. However, Koo's widow and two daughters are suing Koo Moo and other LG executives, alleging deception to seize their rightful inheritance. You see, the lawsuit pits the matriarch and daughters of the Koo family against the nephew-turned-heir Koo Moo, challenging the patriarchal tradition at LG that grants the oldest male successor power and wealth. And in March 2023, it was reported that Koo Moo has been embroiled in an inheritance dispute with his mother, Kim Young-sik, and two adopted sisters and literal first cousins, Koo Yeon-kyung and Koo Yeon-soo, over the ownership of Koo Moo's shares. According to recordings from the trial, Koo's mother and sisters, who were previously involved in management, are suing to break an existing agreement and redistribute the inheritance shares, intending to be involved in management again. The dispute could potentially reduce the adopted heir Koo Moo's shareholding in LG Corp, the holding company, from 15.95% to 9.7%, which would be lower than the combined 14.9% held by his mother and sisters. Now, the key remaining issue is whether the court will accept the lawsuit, despite the 3-year statute of limitations on inheritance claims having already passed. LG maintains the inheritance was legally carried out through a prior family agreement, while the plaintiffs allege deception, and an unfavorable ruling could shake up LG's long-standing traditions and potentially diminish Koo Moo's control over the vast conglomerate his family has led for over 75 years. Additionally, under his leadership, LG Group has undergone substantial restructuring to streamline its operations and focus on high-growth areas. If the power dynamics are disrupted, it could be set back some of the key decisions made within the company. For example, one of the most notable decisions was the closure of LG Electronics' mobile phone business in 2021, which allowed the company to redirect resources towards more profitable sectors such as auto electronics and household appliances. However, LG Group's financial performance has been robust during Koo's tenure. The market capitalization of the group nearly tripled, and annual sales approached $153 billion, driven by strategic investments in new growth areas such as electric vehicle components, batteries, artificial intelligence, and clean technology industries. Therefore, we'll have to wait and see if the massive LG empire continues to run until a smooth, continuous line, or if the family shake-up will mean an uncharted course in the not-so-distant future. Africa, the cradle of humanity and that boundless reservoir of some of the Earth's most extensive natural resources. A spellbinding location that presents a panorama of majestic landscapes, mingling amongst complex socio-economic challenges. This vast continent, teeming with varied ecosystems and rich in minerals, has been a focal point of global attention, not solely for its scenic beauty, but also for its deep-seated issues in governance and economy. However, unbeknownst to many, the extraction of Africa's abundant resources has been secretly controlled by a select few old money families, often hidden in plain sight. In particular, one such dynasty has dominated the global diamond industry in an era of unparalleled dominance, controlling an astonishing 85 to 90% of rough diamond distribution for over 100 years, not only in Africa, but worldwide. Indeed, the reign of the Oppenheimer family of South Africa has managed to not only survive, but thrive through the most testing of historical eras. They've amassed billions through 2 world wars, the so-called digital revolution of the 21st century, and they even managed to escape the highly publicized blood diamond controversy of the early 2000s. In today's episode, we tell their full 120-year saga, a striking example of the rapacious, centuries-long fight over resources, political power, and global prestige in the birthplace of our species, as we describe. The Oppenheimers, the old money family that controls Africa. In the historical echelons of global wealth and influence, South Africa's Oppenheimer clan stands near the very top, living out a familial saga intertwined with the gleaming allure of diamonds, the strategic play of high finance and diversification into the most essential goods, including Africa's food supply itself. As of 2024, at the helm of this legendary lineage stands Nicholas F. Oppenheimer, endearingly known as Nicky, who, as of last year, boasts a net worth of a staggering $9.85 billion. And this makes him the 223rd richest person on Earth, according to Bloomberg's Billionaires Index. And surprisingly, this financial prowess marks a notable climb of almost $2 billion from his $7.95 billion net worth just the year before, in 2022. Now, this particularly dramatic ascent in Nicky's fortune traces back to a pivotal moment in 2012, when he sold his family's 40% stake in the famed De Beers Diamond Company to Anglo-American Corporation for a hefty sum of $5.2 billion. You see, this masterstroke, supplemented by about $390 million in dividends, laid the cornerstone of Nicky Oppenheimer's diverse portfolio, one with a keen eye on commodities and African markets. Furthermore, Nicky's ventures span continents, with private equity investments in Africa, Asia, the US and Europe, managed through Stockdale Street in London and Tana Africa Capital in Johannesburg. Indeed, these strategic investments have yielded lucrative returns, cementing his status as a titan in the realm of global business. And beyond the boardroom, Nicky's interests soar into the skies with Fireblade Aviation, established in 2014. This Johannesburg-based private aviation firm offers executive charter flights and VIP services, boasting a fleet of sophisticated aircraft, catering to an elite clientele. Additionally, in the healthcare sector, Nicky holds a significant 3.37% stake in Integrated Diagnostics Holdings, expanding his influence into consumer healthcare across several countries. Yet Nicky's passion extends to environmental stewardship as well. He owns the Shangani Ranch, a vast 65,000-hectare property celebrated for its conservation efforts, and, along with his son and heir apparent Jonathan Oppenheimer, co-owns Tswalu Kalahari, South Africa's largest private game reserve. But the baton of the Oppenheimer legacy is soon poised to pass to the aforementioned Jonathan Oppenheimer, Nicky's son. Having first honed his skills at NM Rothschild & Sons, yes, those Rothschilds, then Anglo-American Corporation, as well as his family's historical flagship company De Beers, Jonathan's prowess in commercial endeavors is unmistakable. Indeed, his tenure as managing director of De Beers Consolidated Mines in South Africa underscored his business acumen. And, extending his global stature, Jonathan joined the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace's Board of Trustees in 2018, demonstrating his political policy savvy. Furthermore, in 2023, Jonathan made a strategic move by taking control of Nigeria's GZ Industries Limited, signaling his ambition to shape the beverage can industry in sub-Saharan Africa. Additionally, Rebecca Oppenheimer, arguably the family's big brain, adds another dimension to the Oppenheimer saga. Raised in Manhattan's Upper West Side and a graduate of Columbia University and Caltech, Rebecca's contributions to astrophysics are well known. Having co-discovered the first brown dwarf and pioneered the study of exoplanetary atmospheres, Rebecca has earned numerous accolades in the scientific community and even owns a palatial 8,462 square foot residence, Merkaba in Washington state, designed to look like a UFO. And, par for the old money course, the Oppenheimers' display of wealth includes Nikki's collection of luxury automobiles, a yacht, a private jet, and properties spanning Johannesburg to Berkshire, alongside the majestic Tswalu Kalahari Private Game Reserve. However, how did a family of bookish scientists and corporate natural resource financiers arrive at multi-billionaire status in the 21st century without needing to go the Musk or Zuckerberg route of leveraging technology to amass an eye-watering fortune? In order to find our answer, we'll have to turn back the hands of time and venture below the smoke-filled industrial skies of 19th century Germany. The first patriarch of what would become the diamond-dominating Oppenheimer family, Ernest Oppenheimer, emerged into the world on the 22nd of May, 1880, in Friedberg, German Empire, to a Jewish family. Born to Edward Oppenheimer, a cigar merchant, and Nanette, née Hirschhorn, Ernest's early life was steeped in the cultural and economic milieu of his time. You see, the 1880s in Friedberg were characterized by a complex social fabric, with Jewish families like the Oppenheimers contributing significantly to the local economy. And while not all cigar merchants amassed great wealth, the Oppenheimer family appeared to have enjoyed a comfortable life. Indicative of the steady prosperity found in such trades, young Ernest embarked on his professional journey at 17, joining Dunkelspuler Company, a London-based diamond brokerage. Soon, his astute understanding of the diamond trade and unerring eye for detail did not go unnoticed, and at 22, he was dispatched to South Africa, a land, even back then, rich with diamond reserves, to act as a buyer for his company in the city of Kimberley. You see, in those days, Kimberley, the destination of his assignment, was far more than a mere mining town. It was a burgeoning economic hub in South Africa, and its significance in the early 20th century cannot be understated. For example, in a move that signaled its advanced infrastructure and modernity, Kimberley lit its streets with electric lights on the 2nd of September 1882. This achievement marked it as the first city in the Southern Hemisphere and the second globally, following Philadelphia in the United States, to adopt this innovation. The city's economic prowess was further underscored by the establishment of the first stock exchange in Africa in 1881, a development that was a clear indicator of Kimberley's central role in the continent's burgeoning economic landscape, particularly in the mining sector. With this in mind, Ernest Oppenheimer would later deftly finesse his way into the growing city's corridors of influence, engaging in its political sphere with the same acumen he applied to business. Indeed, Ernest went so far as to become mayor of Kimberley, South Africa, from 1912 to 1915. And yet, prior to that, for a young man in his mid-20s, such rapid ascent in the diamond industry was impressively uncommon. Although during this period, the Jewish diamond market in South Africa was burgeoning and offered ample opportunities for astute businessmen like Ernest. His otherworldly rise was a reflection of the soon-to-be characteristic foresight of an Oppenheimer. Therefore, from the very beginning of their dominance of Africa's resource markets, it would seem that the family had the Midas touch when it came to economic and political intrigue. Furthermore, during this period, Ernest's personal life took a fortuitous turn in 1906, when he married Mary Lena Pollock from London. This union not only marked a new chapter in his life, but also played a pivotal role in the Oppenheimer family's integration into South African society and the mining community. And the birth of their son, Harry Oppenheimer, in 1912, the same year father Ernest was elected mayor, set the stage for the continuation of the family's influence in the diamond industry. Harry would later follow in his father's footsteps, taking the helm of De Beers. But first, the Oppenheimers would have to demonstrate to themselves and the world if they could not only survive, but thrive through coming back-to-back world wars that would change everything. In the aftermath of World War I, South Africa found itself in a geopolitical maelstrom. This period marked the emergence of Ernest Oppenheimer, a journey into the sparkling realm of African gems, grabbed not merely by chance, but as a strategic move shaped by the tumultuous global and local politics of the time. The year 1917 saw Oppenheimer, in partnership with William Lincoln Honnold, an American engineer of considerable repute, launch the Anglo-American Corporation. This venture, which would soon become a cornerstone in the diamond industry, was significantly backed by none other than the legendary financier and political powerhouse J.P. Morgan. You see, Morgan's interest in Africa, and particularly in its diamond mines, was rooted in a strategic vision. Recognizing the continent's untapped wealth and the growing global demand for diamonds, Morgan saw an opportunity to expand his multi-billion-dollar financial empire into new, resource-rich territories. And 2 years after its inception, Oppenheimer and Morgan's Anglo-American made a bold move by purchasing diamond mines in Southwest Africa. This was not just a business transaction, it was a direct challenge to the De Beers diamond monopoly, a company that had long held an unshakable grip on the diamond market. At this point, Anglo-American, with an initial capital of £1 million, had established a solid financial foundation, drawing investments from the United States, England, and South Africa. Furthermore, around this same time, in 1921, Ernest was knighted by King George V of England for his services during World War I. You see, he played a significant role in supporting the war effort, which included helping to establish the Kimberley Regiment and organizing the labor required to build a railway line from Upington in the Northern Cape to the Namibian border. His contributions to the British war effort were thus recognized with the honor of knighthood, despite the challenges he faced due to anti-German sentiment at the time, as he was of German origin. Leveraging this newly minted influence, Ernest ventured further into the political arena, securing a seat in the South African House of Assembly in 1924 as the member for Kimberley, a position he held until 1938. However, the year 1927 marked Oppenheimer's pièce de résistance when he took control of his main competitor, the late Cecil Rhodes' De Beers empire, laying the groundwork for a global monopoly over the diamond trade, and by 1929 he had ascended to the chairmanship of De Beers. His strategy was then clear: establish market monopolies, control diamond pricing and supply channels, and create an artificial scarcity to keep prices soaring. But World War II presented new challenges and opportunities for Oppenheimer and De Beers. Amidst global conflict, accusations surfaced against Oppenheimer for withholding industrial diamonds crucial for the US war effort. However, his strategic foresight led to the establishment of diamond-cutting factories in South Africa, ensuring a steady supply of diamonds even as Europe was engulfed in war. In the effervescent post-World War II era, Oppenheimer's De Beers, already a titan in the diamond industry, branched out, injecting its burgeoning profits into the development of gold mines across South Africa. And this wasn't the end of its expansionist zeal. De Beers soon dipped its toes into industries as varied as platinum, steel, and even paper products. However, Oppenheimer's tenure wasn't without its share of controversies, and one significant issue was price fixing. You see, in the 1930s, Ernest maneuvered De Beers into a formidable global cartel, a strategy that not only revived the diamond industry, but also set a precedent that lasted well beyond his time. His crafty price manipulation practices were so effective that they drew the attention of legal authorities, leading to a hefty $10 million fine for De Beers in an Ohio court. Another point of contention was Oppenheimer's adherence to antitrust principles, in other words, forming a monopoly. Indeed, De Beers' operations were seen as a direct contravention of US antitrust laws, specifically the Sherman Act and Clayton Act, which were designed to ensure competition and protect consumer welfare. By eliminating competition and controlling the diamond supply, De Beers was able to keep prices artificially high, which ultimately harmed consumer welfare. To combat these contentious issues, Ernest Oppenheimer began to engage in an intensely proactive philanthropic strategy. Indeed, his donations spanned many sectors, stretching from the establishment of an engineering department at the University of Stellenbosch to funding a centre for colonial research at Oxford University. However, Ernest Oppenheimer's philanthropic and economic ventures, as grand as they were, merely set the stage for what was to come. Our story now turns to meet his son, Harry Oppenheimer, where a tempest of wealth, power and personal drama awaits, promising to arguably eclipse even his own father's monumental legacy. Harry Frederick Oppenheimer, born in Kimberley, South Africa on the 28th of October 1908, was seemingly preordained for a vital role in his family's empire. Following his graduation from the esteemed University of Oxford in England, Harry Oppenheimer returned to South Africa and joined the ranks of his father's renowned company, Anglo-American. His corporate progression, however, was temporarily interrupted by World War II, during which he served in the South African Corps in North Africa. In the post-war era, Harry Oppenheimer was drawn into the realm of politics. From 1948 to 1957, he represented the United Party as a member of the South African Parliament, where he became known for his strong opposition to the apartheid regime. You see, this period in South African history was deeply affected by the institutionalization of apartheid, a system of racial segregation and discrimination. The pro-apartheid National Party, victorious in the 1948 elections, had by then enacted laws such as the Population Registration Act of 1950, which categorized South Africans by race and implemented strict segregation through various acts. During his time in Parliament, Harry Oppenheimer, as a member of the opposition, emerged as a notable figure against the regime. As a member of Parliament for the United Party, the main opposition to the National Party's apartheid policies, he advocated for a more equal treatment of black South Africans. However, his approach, while advocating for better conditions, did not extend to full equality for all races. On one hand, Oppenheimer's efforts were aimed at enhancing the lives of black urban residents and fostering the development of a property-owning black middle class, an approach seen as a step towards an orderly political transition. On the other hand, purposefully aligning himself with the legacy of British colonialist and businessman Cecil Rhodes, Harry expressed concerns about the potential risks to civilization he associated with what Oppenheimer referred to as primitive tribesmen. This duality in his views reflected the complexities of his position and the era's socio-political landscape. However, by 1957, the family business called. Following his father's demise that year, Harry relinquished his political ambitions to spearhead both Anglo-American and De Beers. And indeed, De Beers, by then a titan in diamond and mineral supply, was poised for a transformation under his aegis. At De Beers, Harry Oppenheimer was more than a mere executive. He was a visionary. He revolutionized the diamond industry with ingenious marketing tactics, paving the way for the modern connotation of diamonds as enduring emblems of love and commitment, and a girl's best friend. Naturally, his strategy wasn't just effective, it was transformative, shaping global perceptions that persist today. And under his leadership, De Beers' footprint expanded dramatically, reaching Canada, Australia, Malaysia, Portugal, Zambia, and Tanzania. This expansion was not just a growth strategy, but a statement of intent, firmly planting De Beers on the global stage. However, although he had formally left politics years before, Harry's political influence continued to hold sway. He seamlessly transitioned to a role behind the scenes, supporting the Progressive Party as its chief financial benefactor, thus continuing to shape the political landscape without the limelight of office. By the time the 1980s dawned, Oppenheimer had climbed the echelons of wealth, ranking among the world's richest. His fortune, a mosaic of gold, diamonds, and various minerals, was a testament to his business acumen. As the chairman of both the Anglo-American Corporation and De Beers Consolidated Mines, he didn't just oversee operations, he expanded their global footprint, so much so that, by the end of the decade, his empire shockingly contributed to a full quarter of South Africa's GDP. As his unparalleled career came to a close, Harry had set the stage for his son, Nicky Oppenheimer, to take the reins and steer the family legacy through a world of evolving challenges and opportunities. In the dynamic decade of the 1990s, the Oppenheimer family, with Nicholas "Nicky" Oppenheimer at the helm, maintained their stronghold over the diamond industry. Their control of De Beers since the late 1920s had transformed diamonds into emblems of luxury and desire. Yet this reign was not without its challenges, and in 1995, the family yet again found themselves embroiled in controversy. Critics accused them of monopolistic practices, alleging that their grip over De Beers and its exclusive contracts allowed them to skew the diamond market. Thus, as the 21st century unfolded, the Oppenheimers pivoted, broadening their business interests beyond the glint of diamonds. They ventured into various African sectors, including healthcare, agriculture, media, and retail. This strategic diversification was seen as a savvy move to safeguard the family's financial prominence and influence, especially as they gradually stepped back from the diamond sphere. However, the new millennium further brought intensified scrutiny to the Oppenheimers' diamond endeavors. Criticisms centered around environmental and ethical concerns, gaining momentum with cultural references that cast a spotlight on the darker aspects of diamond mining. One such reference was the Oscar-nominated 2006 film Blood Diamond, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Set amidst the Sierra Leone Civil War, the movie graphically depicted the harrowing realities of diamond mining, starkly portraying the industry's impact on local communities and the environment, heightened consumer consciousness about the moral complexities of the trade. Simultaneously, controversial rapper Kanye West's 2005 song Diamonds from Sierra Leone echoed similar themes, illuminating the grim abuses of Sierra Leone's diamond mines and adding momentum in pop culture to speaking out against the monopolistic diamond trade. Subsequently, both the film and the song were instrumental in elevating public awareness of the ethical dilemmas in diamond mining, leading to increased scrutiny, including those of companies under the Oppenheimer umbrella. This cultural and ethical awakening marked a significant shift in how the world viewed the glittering allure of diamonds, casting a shadow on the practices that brought them to market. Then, in 2012, the diamond industry witnessed a pivotal moment as the Oppenheimer family relinquished their 40% stake in De Beers to Anglo American. This deal, valued at over $5 billion, saw the Oppenheimers' storied 80-year reign at De Beers come to a close. However, as previously noted, Anglo American itself was founded by an Oppenheimer family member, thus raising questions of if the lineage has really ever left the trade. Anglo American thus upped its share in De Beers to a dominant 85%, heralding a new era in the glittering world of diamonds. And this transaction was more than a mere business deal. It signaled a strategic pivot for the Oppenheimer family. With a newfound liquidity, the family, already known for its diverse investments, was now poised to broaden its portfolio across various sectors. Thus, in an intriguing turn of events, the Oppenheimers entered Nigeria's fast food scene in 2015. This move, tapping into a market expanding by 4% annually, highlighted their agility in recognizing burgeoning opportunities. And the family's foray into this sector resonated with Nigeria's growing appetite for fine dining and quick service. 2017 marked a further strategic move in this arena by the Oppenheimers in Nigeria with the acquisition of a majority stake in GZ Industries, a leading aluminium can manufacturer. GZ Industries, boasting an annual production of 3 billion cans, became a cornerstone in the Oppenheimers' investment portfolio, further entrenching their influence in Africa's largest economy. Fast forward to 2023, and the Oppenheimers' investments in Nigeria's food and beverage packaging sectors have significantly shaped the market dynamics. Their stake in GZ Industries has propelled the company to control a substantial portion of Nigeria's drinks can market. Thus, by the 2020s, the Oppenheimer dynasty has firmly established its complex and multifaceted legacy, stretching from diamonds and precious gems to aluminum. Their story reflects what happens when one family permanently embeds itself in the economic and political structures of Africa's vast natural resources, for better or for worse. When you think of the surname Musk, sure, your first thoughts go to Elon. the audacious and controversial visionary behind some of the 21st century's most trailblazing ventures. From launching rockets into the cosmos with SpaceX to pioneering the electric car revolution with Tesla, Elon Musk has become synonymous with innovation on a grand scale, and his Twitter escapades and public appearances often steal headlines, painting the picture of a tech mogul whose ambitions reach as far as Mars. But what you may not know is that the Musk family is a veritable dynasty, with every single sibling of Elon being a multi-millionaire in their own right, along with Mommy Dearest, and each family member adding their own impressive contributions across diverse sectors. In today's episode, we'll give you the most in-depth coverage of the overall Musk family you've likely ever seen, covering the good, the bad, and the luxury of one of the world's most well-known and controversial dynasties, as we describe a history of the $300 billion Musk family empire. The Musk family. Now here's a dynasty that practically oozes ambition and innovation, and at the helm is, of course, Elon Musk, the undisputed heavyweight champ of the family fortune. As of this summer, Elon sits comfortably on top of the world's richest list, with a jaw-dropping net worth of $232 billion. This immense pile of cash is largely thanks to his roles as CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, as well as his techie escapades with X, formerly Twitter. And despite a rollercoaster ride that saw his net worth soar to $320 billion in November 2021, Elon's still basking in financial glory. Furthermore, Elon's early entrepreneurial journey reads like a start-up Star Wars saga. The original trilogy, though, not that Disney crap. His early entrepreneurial spirit shone through with Zip2, which he sold for $307 million. And PayPal, that was snatched up by eBay for $1.5 billion. But these were mere appetizers compared to the main course of his later ventures that we all know him for in the 2020s. And when it comes to real estate, Musk doesn't just push the envelope. He's practically rewriting the whole book. His Los Angeles pad, valued at more than $4 million, boasts a spaceship-like design that would make a sci-fi fan jealous. And his Bel Air mansion, worth a cool $17 million, is a showcase of opulent living, dripping in luxury. Additionally, Musk's private jet collection could make a Bond villain envious. His Gulfstream G650ER, worth $66.5 million, is the crown jewel of his fleet, making global travel a breeze. He also owns several Gulfstream G550s, each worth around $62 million, complete with plush interiors, advanced entertainment systems, and top-tier avionics. And naturally, his car collection is a smorgasbord of automotive excellence. Among his prized rides is a McLaren F1, which he purchased for $1 million, a 1990s icon of speed and engineering. He also has a 1920 Ford Model T valued at $25 grand and a 1967 Jaguar E-Type worth approximately $100,000. But the pièce de résistance is a Tesla Roadster he launched into space aboard a SpaceX rocket, a $100,000 electric sports car now happily orbiting the sun. And accessories are another realm where Musk showcases his flair for the extraordinary. His one-of-a-kind Air Jordan Tesla sneakers, crafted from python skin, are a nod to his penchant for the exclusive. Even his watch collection includes a $50,000 Audemars Piguet and a $200,000 Richard Mille. Adding a touch of bling is a Tesla diamond and ruby ring worth over 37 grand, a gift from jeweler Ben Balla as a thank you for making Tesla a reality. But May Musk, Elon's mother, is a force in her own right. With a net worth of around $45 million, this Canadian-born, South Africa-raised model and dietitian has graced the covers of magazines like Time and Sports Illustrated. Based in New York City, May is a fixture at high-profile events like the Met Gala, flaunting designer gowns and high-end jewelry. And despite her wealth, she's known for crashing at her son's place in a garage, proving her down-to-earth streak. Now, Errol Musk, Elon's father, adds a splash of controversy to the mix. With an estimated net worth of $2 million, though some whisper about a past emerald mine, His collection of luxury cars, including a Bentley, Rolls-Royce and Mercedes, signals his taste for the high life. His relationship with Elon, however, is anything but smooth. Elon has called him a terrible human being in interviews. Moving on to Kimball Musk, the younger brother, he also plays the entrepreneurial game with style. Valued at around $700 million, Kimball owns multiple properties and luxury vehicles. Known for his cowboy hat and unpretentious attitude, he's focused on sustainable food through ventures like the Kitchen Restaurant Group and Big Green. His work in philanthropy and sustainability has earned him a spot as a global social entrepreneur, highlighting his commitment to real food and community empowerment. And last, Tosca Musk, the youngest sibling, shines in the film industry. As co-founder and CEO of Passionflix, a streaming service for romance films, she's carved out a niche of her own. And with an estimated net worth of $170 million, Tosca enjoys a Hollywood lifestyle, replete with designer fashion and an impressive collection of art and jewelry. Now, Elon, a man of many children, has fathered 12 with 3 different women, a brood which famously and controversially has had its own varied interactions with the current family patriarch. In a few minutes, we'll take a look forward to the future of the Musk family. But first, let's go to the next chapter to get a handle on how this global juggernaut of a lineage got its start. Investigating the Musk family's historical roots offers an intriguing glimpse into their global heritage and socio-economic evolution. And despite their European origins tracing back well before the 19th century, the Musk family's modern background includes English, Anglo-Canadian, Dutch and Swiss threads. First, let's start with the surname Musk, a key piece in unraveling the family's past. One popular theory posits that Musk has English origins, emerging during the era of William the Conqueror and the Norman conquest of 1066. According to this view, the name evolved from the Old French term mesh, meaning man. However, another perspective suggests a Dutch origin for the name, which is plausible given the family's later connections to South Africa. Turning to the Musk's English lineage, we find that the name Musk first appears in Tuddenham, Suffolk, where John Musk married Mary Ann Edwards in 1791. Indeed, this marriage marked the beginning of an English branch of the family characterized more by manual labor than by any Norman aristocratic heritage. And their son, Harry Musk, worked as a farm laborer, reflecting a modest background rather than the high societal status often associated with Norman names. Therefore, this glimpse into the Musk family's early English roots reveals a departure from any traditional aristocratic image, focusing instead on a more humble, labor-oriented life. The modest beginnings of John Musk's lineage suggest a background far from the privileged old money circles often associated with aristocratic names. Shifting our focus to Elon Musk's Dutch ancestry, we find a different narrative. And his paternal great-grandmother was a descendant of the Dutch free burghers in South Africa. These early settlers, initially under the Dutch East India Company, were independent farmers with a varied financial standing. Furthermore, the term burgher implied a certain level of affluence, but in practice these settlers were often middle-class farmers balancing self-sufficiency with aspirations for better economic positions. This Dutch lineage introduces another layer to the Musk family's history, reflecting a mix of economic ambitions and practical realities. The free burghers were known for their trade activities and efforts to improve their financial status, but a social divide existed between the Cape Dutch and the Boers, each with differing socio-economic conditions and educational backgrounds. In the tale of the Musk family's Swiss origins, the focus shifts to the Haldeman family, who hailed from the picturesque Emmental region in central Switzerland. And this area, nestled within the canton of Bern, is celebrated for its lush meadows, quaint farmhouses, and the world-renowned Emmental cheese. You know, the cheese famous for its large holes and a subtly nutty taste. Now, the Haldeman family name, later anglicized to Haldeman, has long been a part of the Emmental landscape. Over generations, locals have diligently transformed the rocky hillsides into thriving farmland, a feat humorously captured by a Swiss quip. Even the poor farmers wash their own Mercedes. But the story takes a notable turn in 1719, when the Haldeman family emigrated to the United States, adopting the name Haldeman and settling in Pennsylvania. They established the Haldeman estate overlooking the Susquehanna River, a property now known as the Haldeman Mansion within the Locust Grove estate in Lancaster County. This historic estate is preserved today by the Haldeman Mansion Preservation Society. Furthermore, May Musk, Elon Musk's mother, born May Haldeman in Canada in 1948, recounts in her autobiography